Louisiana Beer Review Special Edition, Miller High Life Light, the champagne of beers revisited. This beer was introduced in 1994. It is 110 calories. The alcohol level is low. Forgot to check on that. I think it's about 4%, 4.1%. Might be 4.2. I'll post that. This beer gets very poor ratings. It gets a fine rating on the Beer and Me. Beer Advocate gives it a poor rating, and Rate Beer gives it a 0. Let me repeat, a 0 out of 100 and a 3 out of 100 for the style. Let's see what we get with this revisit. Here's a 32-ounce can. I think this can was $1.29, maybe $1.49. You can see them. You can get them for sometimes about $1.19 even. And these big quart cans, 32-ounce cans, are becoming very popular around here. They do have a tendency to spill. Okay. I have it in I'm drinking this out of a Miller Lite schooner. You don't really see a lot of Miller High Life Light merchandise, but there is some available on the Miller website. We get a thin to medium soapy white head. It would be much thicker if this was a narrow brim glass, and a clear bubbly golden appearance. The aroma, it's very stereotypical American style lager. You get sweet, you get sweetness, the grain, which is your yellow corn grits, as the adjunct, and the main, of course, the main grain is the barley malt, and that's about it. But it's not a non-existent aroma. It's a light aroma, but it is there. It does have a decent, pretty nice smell. Let's go with the flavor. Well, as you would expect, it's very light. The flavor is low profile. It has some grain, which is the corn grits and the barley mix. It has a little bit of very light hoppiness, and I mean very light. The IBU must be around 10. You have the sweetness, and you have a light and watery mouthfeel, and a crisp, a very dry, not as dry as you can get with some light beers, but a pretty dry, crisp, clean, refreshing finish. I was working 8 hours today. This is a good beer to have after work. Now, talking about the ratings, I mean, I think they're very unfair. To give it a 0 out of 100 is outrageous. If it's a 0, that means it's undrinkable. It's one of the worst beers ever produced in the history of mankind. Well, this is certainly not that. And yet, then a lot of the people that do the ratings on Beer Advocate or Rate Beer will, they're the same people that drink Eyinger Celebrator or Pliny the Elder, and they'll say it's not as good as that. Well, obviously, it's not going to be as good as Eyinger Celebrator. Okay, it wasn't created to be a beer like that. Okay, what was Miller High Life Light created to be? The same thing that Miller Lite was created to be. A light, easy to drink, refreshing beer that's value priced, that a person would buy not for gourmet reviewing, but for a camping trip, a fishing trip, to go to get off of work and take home and drink with a frozen pizza and watch TV at 11 o'clock at night. That's what it was created to be. And in that respect, I think they did it, they hit the mark. They've done it to a T. It is an exceptional light beer. It's an exceptional, inexpensive light beer. And as far as a light beer, a mass-produced light beer, I would give it an A. It is a most excellent light beer. I've never had a problem with this beer. It has some body to it. It has some richness to it that probably is a little more pronounced than, say, just the Miller Lite. Now, for beer overall, I don't really care for light beer personally. Even if I was getting off at 11 o'clock at night, I would just get the. If I wanted something cheap, I would get regular Miller High Life or Budweiser, or preferably really regular Coors. But for beer overall, I would say it's a B. It's, maybe you could say B minus, like barely good. But I mean, I do enjoy it, and it does have some interesting flavor notes, really, even. So I would have to say it's a B. This is a B. It's a good beer. That's about all you can say about it. And in the light beer category, it is an A. So that's all I got to say about it. I mean, those written reviews, the average score is ridiculous. So, in my opinion, so Les Bon Temps Roulé. This is a good beer for what it is, and I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to New Orleans.